What's up, everybody? Noah with Madison Angling. Welcome back to Shop Talk. This is the second episode of Shop Talk. Shop Talk. Words are hard. Shop Talk. So we are in the porch today. We are not in the shop, but I had a bunch of questions come in from the first episode, both in the comment section as well as people who reached out directly to me on Instagram and Facebook. So thank you to everybody who gave me some really awesome material to work with here. I'm very excited to answer your questions, and I'm actually going to answer one of those questions right away today. If there were 5 questions I get asked on a very regular basis, this is actually one of those questions, and that is, how did you transition into guiding full time? And I think that's a great question because there's not really a lot of transparency, at least not online, with people telling their stories, how they ended up guiding for a living, doing this full time. So this is kind of a cool opportunity, I guess, to tell my story. And I would bet if you asked 10 different full-time fishing guides how they got to fish full-time, there'd probably be a lot of parallels between most of those stories. But obviously everybody's journey through life is different, and our work and business lives are different. So I guess I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you my story, how I got there. So if you guys are enjoying the Shop Talk series so far, be sure to hit that like button, and if at the end of this video you think I earned it, I would really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. That's all I'll ever ask you guys. So let's jump right into it. Madison Angling started out about, almost 7 years ago, I think, with my buddy Dustin and myself. If you go back and look at our super old, our first handful of videos, that was me and Dustin. And guiding was a very, very small part of that business in the beginning. And eventually it started to grow a little bit. I had a full-time job working 5 or 6 days a week. And guiding wise, I would guide on weekends, and my schedule worked out so I was able to actually guide in afternoons. Usually I'd start work at 5 in the morning, I'd be done around 2 p.m. and that gives you the whole afternoon to do stuff. So I used to actually run trips after work. I'd bring the boat to work with me and change and guide in the evening and then go home. So at first it was a lot of work. It was a lot of running around. I wasn't home a whole heck of a lot. But it was really fun, and if you're gonna do this for a living, guys, you have to have that drive. You can't be a lazy human being. You need to have the drive and desire to do this. You got to be hungry for it, and I was very hungry back then, and I'm still very hungry now. So that's just something you'll find with a lot of people that own their own businesses. Typically, they're very, very motivated people, and I do believe you need to have that to be successful. So anyway, I started doing it basically part-time, still working full-time at my regular job, 40, 50 hours a week doing that. And it got to be kind of a lot. And as things continued to grow for Madison Angling, I was getting more people reaching out about weekdays. People that want to go fish on a Wednesday morning or a Thursday morning, something like that. So I ended up starting to ask time off from work. And that was okay for a little bit until I started asking off kind of a lot of time. Really a lot of time, because it got to a point where one day I was driving to work and, I had to turn away a guide trip that particular day. And I did some math in my head and I realized, wow, I'm losing money going to work today. That was kind of a really crappy feeling, and it definitely was a tipping point for me where it kind of pushed me to want to pursue guiding more, getting closer to guiding full time. So for having made that connection in my head, seeing that, making that realization myself, I think my boss at the same time kind of was on the same page with me, and we ended up talking and decided that going part-time at my full-time job was probably the best move for both of us, because me asking off all these random weird days, sometimes it wasn't with very much advance. It was a pain. It was a pain for me. It was a pain for him. It was a pain for my coworkers, and it was time to make a change for both of us. So we decided I was going to go part-time, so I still had the security of having a real job while still being able to pursue my business, grow my business. So it ended up being about, by the end, it was about 2 days a week, and it kind of sucked. Honestly, it kind of sucked because, with what we did there and the number of people we had working, it's all hands on deck, and when you're down a person, it really sucks. It kind of jams things up, and it just slows everything down. So my scheduling got real weird. The time of day I was working was real weird. It wasn't fun. It didn't help anybody, and it felt like I was kind of just in the way. I was just there to be there, and it wasn't like I was really a part of the team, part of the family anymore. And at the same time, this was about 4 or 5 months that we did this. Business was doing very, very well. Lots of guide trips, phones ringing, emails are popping. Things are rolling pretty darn well. And in that time, I had saved a bunch of money, and basically had saved enough money that all of my bills were covered for about 6 months. At the time I was renting, no kids, wasn't married yet. I basically had a boat payment and rent and insurance and just general being alive stuff to pay for. So I was able to save enough money that I had 6 months of my life taken care of, paid for. So I had that safety net, as well as the fact that, I'm on good terms with my boss. And I will add, my boss, Jerry Stoddard, amazing guy, has always been super supportive of me and what I'm doing with my business, and was very supportive and just encouraged me tremendously to do this. He taught me a ton about business and has been unbelievably supportive. In fact, I actually live up the street from where I used to work, and I see Jerry just about every day, and we talk about every other day. So on very good terms, but it got to a point again where it wasn't working out for any of us, right? And we talked about it. Things were going well enough with my business that he felt confident, and I felt confident that I could do it. I could take the dive and go for it. And I had an incredibly supportive group of people around me. My parents were a little freaked out, I think, and I still think maybe they're a little freaked out by it, but here we are, 5 years later doing this full time now, and things are good. So at some point you have to make that decision on your own that you're going to take that chance, you're going to dive in and go for it, but do it smart, right? Do a pros and cons list, make sure that you have your bases covered and you have a contingency plan. So it just happened to work out that I think my last day of work was like January 1st. I think it was New Year's Day. And that was it. I was on my own. It was the weirdest feeling. I got my last paycheck. I had my, I never took vacation time, so I got my, my last check for my vacation days and whatnot, and that was it. It was over. We had a little party, had some cupcakes, I think, and I was done. And it was a very strange feeling waking up in the morning knowing that my income, my job, the hours I'm going to work today are on me. I don't have somebody that's scheduling me, making this happen, booking trips. I'm the one doing that. You are the one doing that. So that was pretty cool. Having that sense of, I don't want to say self-worth, but being able to self-motivate to the point where you are able to generate enough business that you can live. That's a very rewarding feeling. So the first year was a lot of learning, which I knew it would be. And the biggest thing was learning kind of the cycle of guiding, at least where I fish here in southern Wisconsin, where there's going to be slow times, there's going to be transitional periods like we're coming up on here in about a month and a half or so. That weird in-between time between open water and early ice, and then that weird transition from late ice to open water. There's a little bit of these, kind of lulls that you need to plan for. And the first year was kind of establishing when those are and planning accordingly, figuring out what I need to save up in order to cover the slow times and how to maximize on the busy times. So without driving yourself crazy and running yourself into the ground, which, happens. That's kind of part of it. But again, that's where the motivation comes in. You can't be a lazy person if you're going to do this. So after the first year, they just kind of kept going. I don't know. It just kind of snowballed, just kept going. And there was this old saying for a very long time, and I don't know if it's still around, but basically, if you are self-employed, a small business owner, and you've made it 3 years and your business is profitable and you are still on an upward trend, things are still going well, still growing, you're good. You should be safe, right? So here we are, I think 5 years now, guiding full time, and it's still rolling. It's pretty amazing. So I'll be the first to tell you that you are not going to get rich doing this, but what you are rich in is experiences and some incredible memories, being able to help people create memories, and just the things you get to see, the things you get to experience are just so cool. For me, it's totally worth it. You know, we don't have a ton of time here on this planet, and spend it wisely. You know, you got to be smart. You need money to live, right? You got to be able to actually function as a human being. But you know, for me, it was I want to have fun. I know so many miserable people that are out chasing dollars and not actually enjoying what they do. So I get to go fishing. I get to meet new people every day, which is incredible. And I get to, you know, see the same people multiple times a year. You know, I have customers that are friends now. It's just, it's a very, very rewarding thing. But for me, timing wise, everything worked out great. You know, didn't have kids, wasn't married yet, didn't have a ton of bills, and I was able to take that leap at the right time when my business was starting to take off, and things worked out. So that's my story, guys. You know, my suggestion to anybody that wants to get into guiding or take it to the next step is start out part-time and just feel it out. You know, maybe your location is conducive to generating a lot of business, or maybe it's not. Maybe you have a very unique experience that you can sell people, and maybe not. You know, these are all things you need to take into consideration to make sure that you're setting yourself up to be successful, and then obviously having a contingency plan, something you can fall back on if things don't go well. So that's my story, guys. Hopefully it inspires and maybe encourages some of you to take that step and go for it. And if you ever have any more questions about, you know, this sort of stuff, drop it down in the comments, or feel free to reach out to me directly. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. So that is it, guys. Please keep the questions coming. Drop some more comments in the comments. I don't know where I was going with that. Drop some more questions down in the comment section. I love everything that you guys have been throwing down there. And feel free again to direct message me. I'll have my particulars in the description below. I'm losing my light here. There's a thunderstorm coming, and I'm doing some real janky stuff with lighting in here right now, so I don't know what this video looks like, but the bones are there. So again, thank you guys so much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story with you guys. It's pretty darn cool, and it's really cool that you guys asked to hear that. So thank you. I appreciate it, and we will see you on the next video. See ya.